post. I don't see it on my end. Just FYI, but I'm looking.
Okay. And Araceli might need to do that because I couldn't do it either.
Okay, let me
I
look.
don't see it. Maybe we don't have that option then.
You should.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're trying to make sure that everyone is available and when ready, are able to share and unmute. Gracias. Vamos a empezar unos minutitos. Vamos a terminar de a preparar todo lo que se ocupa para poder, los que van a presentar, a tener su micrófono prendido.
Amor, can you speak into the mic so that I can test the Spanish room? Okay, you want to make the announcement and show them how to switch to Spanish? Okay, let me do it. I got it. Buenas tardes a todos. Vamos a comenzar esta presentación en inglés. Si ustedes quieren escuchar en español, van a tener que ir al icono del globito que está abajo en su pantalla, que dice interpretación. Van a tener que elegir donde dice Spanish, que es español. Y también pueden apagar el audio original para que no lo escuchen en inglés y así puedan escuchar en español. ¿Okay? De nuevo, tienen que elegir el icono del globito que está abajo que dice interpretación. Elijan el idioma Spanish, español. Y también apaguen el audio original para que no escuchen los dos, inglés y español. ¿Ok? Si tienen alguna dificultad, creo que pueden levantar la mano. Está una manita ahí. Opriman esa manita y les podemos ayudar.
All right, and then Araceli, can you get board members co-host access? We can't. Kenny and I cannot. To be able to turn on their camera.
Okay, give me a second because Kenny, I'm going to make you a host so you can help me with those technical pieces. Yes? I just don't know where to do that right now. I don't know why my names aren't coming up. Oh, I know why. Okay. Okay, here we go. I got it. I know how to do it now. So there, I got one. Jessica Guerrero is now co-host. Did I see Anne-Marie in the room?
Yes.
Randall Trejo.
Yes, we have Anne-Marie in the room.
Okay, I'm making her a co-host as we speak. Anybody else I need to find?
I'm looking to see if we have Chief Guerrero, who is going to be speaking. So it's
Councilmember Carlos Leon is there now.
Okay, I see Joe Guerrero, so I'm making him, looks like he's already a co-host. So let me know if anybody else pops in.
Thank you.
Did you get board member or council member Carlos Leon?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we can start sharing screens as soon as we're doing that.
De nuevo, una vez más, voy a hacer el anuncio. Si necesitan escuchar en español, porque vamos a comenzar la presentación en inglés, vayan al icono del globito que está abajo en su pantalla. Opriman ahí donde dice interpretación. Elijan el idioma Spanish, que es español. Y también apaguen el audio original para que no escuchen en los dos idiomas, para que escuchen solamente en español. Y tenemos a nuestra intérprete que está interpretando todo español ahí en ese canal. ¿Okay? Si tienen alguna dificultad con eso, pueden levantar la manita que está aquí en la pantalla y les podemos ayudar con eso. So we'll get started in just a minute. I'm just making last minute announcements to help our community with our Spanish speaking channel. All right. Then as we're waiting, just as an FYI, there is the Q&A feature has been enabled. So if you have a question that you would like to ask, we don't have the chat available, but we do have the Q&A. So you can click where it says Q&A. There's a question mark on the bottom right of your screen. You can click there and type in a question, and our hosts and co-hosts will see that question, and we'll be able to either ask that question to our panelists or answer the question in the Q&A feature. Si tienen alguna pregunta, pueden usar el icono que está debajo de su pantalla, que dice Q y A, y tiene un signo de interrogación. Ese les va a permitir que ustedes hagan una pregunta. La pregunta va a venir hacia nosotros y entonces podremos ayudarles con esa pregunta, ¿ok? Ahí es donde pueden hacer esas preguntas. Okay. Okay, are we ready? So I can start sharing my screen? No?
I'm
Okay.
saying not yet.
Okay. We're giving our interpreter just a couple minutes to get everything ready and set up in Spanish. Give me thumbs up when you're ready, amor.
Araceli, it looks like she might have texted you something.
Blanquita, ¿tiene una pregunta?
They're not going to be able to unmute Blanca, Araceli. They're going to need to ask it in the Q&A.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see questions in there. Are you able to see them, Kenny, Carlos?
Yes, we are able to. We're copying them now, and we're going to be bringing those questions forward when it comes time to the question and answer session.
Señora Micaela, para responder a su pregunta, para escucharlo en español, tiene que ir al icono que está debajo de su pantalla que dice interpretación. Haga clic ahí y elija el idioma Spanish, que es español. Y luego también apague el audio original para que no lo escuchen los dos idiomas. Ok, y así lo puede escuchar en español. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and... Amor, we're good? Oh. O si está en su teléfono, para encontrar cómo ponerlo en español, tiene que elegir donde dice more, más. Hay 3 puntitos y ahí es donde va a escoger el icono del mundito y entonces va a escribir también español. And then, Esther, if you're on the line, I'm going to assign you as the Korean interpreter now. Let me go there. Okay, Esther, I just added you. Let me just make you a co-host so you can unmute. And then Esther, if you want to jump on and just make that announcement in Korean for folks who need to switch the language. Okay. Are you able to see my screen now? Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Know Your Rights Community Forum. Thank you for being here. I'm going to introduce our Director of Community Schools and Family Community Engagement to get us started with our forum tonight. Again, this forum is being interpreted into Spanish and Korean, so just be mindful if you're speaking to give enough time to our interpreters to be able to, get that interpretation going into other languages. So my name is Araceli Chavez. I'm the Manager for Family Community Engagement. And again, thank you all for being here to, get this important information at this time. I'm going to turn it over to Carlos Hernandez, our Director of Community Schools and Family and Community Engagement.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. Thank you so much for being here on a very important set of things and meetings to discuss and to share and to be with you, with each other in community. We are a community school district, and that means that we are here to support each other, to help our students, our families, and our community thrive. And when we have situations in our environment, in our community that is hurting us as community members, we address what that is and we respond to that need. And so that's why we're here. We're here to support one another through the questions, the resources that we're going to provide, and the questions that you may have. And so we're going to get right into it. We're going to welcome our board member, Jessica Guerrero, our AUHSD board clerk, to be able to do a welcome and to be able to get started with Anaheim Union's support for our community. Board member Jessica, please.
Yes.
Carlos, before Jessica goes, I think you guys need to put the slides up. I'm looking at Araceli's calendar.
Oops.
I don't know if I'm the only one.
No, that's correct. That's what I see too.
All right, I was like thinking to myself, am I doing something wrong here?
Sorry.
No, you're
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Okay, Jessica Guerrero, board member.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Guerrero, and I'm one of the AUHSD board members. On behalf of the AUHSD Board of Trustees, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I know these are difficult times and leaving many of us feeling worried and uncertain, but I want our community to know that this district supports our immigrant community. I am a daughter and granddaughter of immigrants, just like many of our students and families in this district. And I just want to share a message to our students who also have immigrant parents or who themselves are also undocumented, working every day for a brighter future. I want you to know that you are not alone. We understand the fear that you face and the responsibility that you carry in keeping your loved ones protected. I am very grateful for this district staff, for this board and our community schools team that has put all these Know Your Rights events together and has taken many measures to make sure that we are prepared and informed. I want to also share my gratitude to our nonprofit partners and many of our community leaders in our city, state, and federal government that are working with us to keeping our families informed. I also want to show gratitude to my colleagues on the board, many of them which are here with us tonight, for their support for our immigrant community. This board has always been committed to our immigrant community, and I want to share a little bit about the measures that we have taken as a board to protect our families and community. So I believe that's the next slide. Thank you. So this board passed a resolution very early on last year. It's the Providing All Children Equal Access to Education resolution. It was unanimously passed by all 5 members. And with this resolution, it reaffirms our district's dedication to ensuring a safe and welcoming educational environment for all students, regardless of the immigration status. It ensures that we're not sharing no information or documentation regarding the citizenship or immigration status of students or their families, and that our schools do not cooperate with any immigration enforcement activities. And this resolution was really the first step in ensuring that we are safeguarding our students, safeguarding our school sites and our families. And then beyond that, this board also took extra measures and developed a board policy, which I believe is in the slide.
Sorry,
Oh no.
okay, go ahead.
So now this is our board policy on immigration enforcement that outlines the policies and procedures that we have in place with our school site teams in case just to keep us all safe, right? We have taken the measures of training our administrators both throughout the school year and right now during our summer school programs as they're currently going on. And many of our school district staff has met together with a greater focus on making sure that everyone knows their responsibilities and roles as this takes place. And I want to share my gratitude to our district staff, in particular Assistant Superintendent Dr. Freed, who has ensured that our administrators are trained. And I know he's going to share a little more into the details on what procedures we have taken. So I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Freed.
Thank you, Trustee Guerrero. I also want to take a moment just to thank our families and our communities for attending tonight. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to our community partners who are here with us to share valuable information and insights into keeping our students and our families safe. I also want to take a moment because I know Superintendent Matsuda is on the call. I want to welcome him, along with calling out specifically our board members who have been visionary in doing and supporting this work. I know you met Trustee Guerrero. I know Trustee Guerrero also introduced Trustee Anne-Marie Randall Trejo. I want to call her out for her vision work. And then we have our board president, Brian O'Neill. We also have Trustee Ron Hoshi and Trustee Kathy Smith. So thank you to all of our board for supporting and having the courage to do this work on behalf of our students and families. As Trustee Guerrero said, we have trained our administrators both during the school year and even during the summer for those leading our summer school efforts to make sure that they are upholding and following the protocols outlined in the board policy that you saw on the last slide. A couple of things that I want to just reiterate that's really important in terms of things that we're doing as a school. We do not, as a district, collect or disclose any information about a student or a family's immigration status. I think that's something really important I want to just make sure to say. And then also, people have asked if ICE were to show up to our schools, what do we do? If they come with an ICE warrant, do we let them in? No, only a court-ordered, signed by a judge is what we honor. So if a document comes to us from a court signed by a judge, we're obligated to honor those things, but no other warrants. An ICE warrant is not honored. Also, if immigration officers request access to a school site or student records, staff will follow district protocols and procedures, notifying the superintendent or the designee. And we are trained on how to respond to those kinds of requests, ensuring the rights and the privacy of our students and families are protected. We also, and you're going to hear from one of our chiefs in a bit, we also meet regularly with our chief of police in all the 5 cities that we serve, and they have been incredibly supportive of this work and cooperating closely with our district to also make sure that we're supporting our students, family, and larger community. Again, you're going to hear from Chief Guerrero in a bit. In terms of emergency preparedness, one of the things that we constantly encourage our families, and I just remind all of you here, to make sure that you're updating your emergency contact information. You can add as many folks as you want to the emergency contact, so that way in the unfortunate or God forbid situation where you are not home, you have the ability to have other folks on the contact information that we can reach out to support and pick up your student. It's also important for you to have a contingency plan in the event that something does happen and you're not there. We talk in our district about a caregiver affidavit. That is a form that you can get at our schools through our registrar's office, where they will provide you forms that you can fill out. So in the event that you're not there in an emergency, you have identified folks who can serve in your place as a caregiver, right? They can make medical decisions as well as educational decisions with this caregiver affidavit. Our community partners will talk more about the power of attorney, which is a similar concept, but with a little bit more authority, which again, they'll talk about. You know, for our families, we are working very hard to make sure that we are supporting you. If you go to our website, which I know is on one of the slides later on, we have resources that are there available for you to check out and access as support and tools to help you navigate during these times. We also are doing very much what we're doing tonight. We're holding town halls. So although we're holding this one in June, we will be able to host more town halls if necessary and as appropriate to support you with updated information, so you have the equipment and the knowledge to be able to support yourself during these times. And as I said last time, our school counselors, our social workers, our school psychologists, and other staff are readily available to support your students if they are experiencing stress and or anxiety related to immigration concerns. Now, an incident involving immigration enforcement on school grounds is documented and reported to the appropriate authorities to ensure transparency and that we're adhering to the district policy. So we want to make sure that we have built in accountability to make sure that we are following the board policy that has been outlined earlier tonight. Now, for those who are currently taking summer school, because as you know, the regular school year is over. But for those who are taking summer school, I want to just share a few other things. That during summer school, although we believe our campuses are very safe, we do recognize that we may have students or families who are not feeling safe just because of what's happening. And if you have a student who is wishing to attend summer school virtually rather than in person, we have developed a virtual option to make up credit through our independent studies program. If this is something that you're interested in doing or your student is interested in doing, you would contact your summer school principal. They will help connect you to our independent study team to help you through that process. So again, work with your summer school principal if you're interested in doing a virtual option for the summer, and they will connect you to our independent study team so that way you can shift and make up your credit that way. If you're doing the acceleration, you're already part of CVA and the e-learning, so you're already on a virtual atmosphere. And then some questions have come up about transportation during the summer, like when we take students on field trips, or if we have some of our athletic teams still participating. Just so you know, we treat our buses like we treat our schools. And so we do not let ICE come onto our buses. The same thing, our buses are very much treated like our school facilities. And so the buses are not something we allow folks to come onto. The bus driver is the king or queen of their bus, and they are the ones who only allow the students or the staff that are there to chaperone as a part of that field trip or sporting event on the bus. So I just want to make sure that that is also stated. In terms of some next steps, we are continuing to monitor and get updates from our partners like we are doing tonight. The district will continue to participate with our local partners in monitoring and adapting to ensure that we are keeping our students safe and that we are informing our students and families and communities with timely updates as we learn about them ourselves. And just like I just shared just a moment about summer school, how we're making a shift where we are creating a virtual option for our students and families. We are also looking at ways that we potentially can expand CVA and our independent studies program during the school year if this continues into the school year. So just know more information will be coming forward in terms of how we can better support our students if they're not feeling safe to come to campus, where they can still access their education either via Cambridge Virtual Academy, our CVA Virtual Academy, or our independent studies program. Again, I am grateful to all of you for being here tonight, and even more grateful to our staff and community and our partners for your dedication and commitment to our students and families. I specifically want to thank Carlos Hernandez, our Director of Community Schools and Family and Community Engagement, Araceli Chavez, who is our Manager of Family and Community Engagement, and Kenny Perez, who is our Community School Coordinator, along with the interpreters and translators on this call, our Family and Community Engagement Specialists on the call, our Community School Coordinators, our site and district administrators, our counselors, teachers, many of whom are on this call tonight. I can't thank you enough for your tireless efforts and commitment to our students, families, and communities. Thank you all so much. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Araceli, who will introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Freed. So again, we want to, keep moving, right, to get as much information as we can tonight. So I'm going to introduce our next guest. We have with us from the city of La Palma, Chief of Police, Joe Guerrero, who is here to share a few words in solidarity with our community. So Chief Guerrero, are you on? I don't know if you can hear us. Chief Joe Guerrero, can you hear us? He's a co-host, right? So that means
Should be able to.
Okay. Well, maybe we go on to our next slide and then we bring him back in a few. I know that Council Member Carlos Leon and Norma Kurtz are with us also. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them, and then we'll come back to our presentation. Whoops, here we go. Mr. Leon?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. A huge shout out to AUHSD for putting this together. As an AUHSD alum myself, it really means a lot to be able to work together with the district and just to see how much you all care about the community, making sure people are informed and that we're prepared to make sure that our students continue to have the best education here in our communities. It's weird because I typically speak Spanish for these, so I don't know if I have an English version ready, but the message from the city really, we've been trying to put a lot of information out there so that people know that they have rights, right? And also clarifying that we here at the city, we have no role in federal immigration enforcement. If there's any sort of message for anybody that's here, whether it's a parent, a student, a teacher, a counselor, administrator, whoever it is, it's please know that our Anaheim police, our Anaheim fire, paramedics, city staff, we're not involved in any immigration enforcement. We do not ask about immigration status. So if you need assistance from our police officers, or if you see our police officers or fire department out on the street, know that they're there for your safety, for the safety of our community, not for federal immigration enforcement. Just very want to make that point very, very clear to folks, because we want to make sure that people are still able to call us and call us with confidence, and we're here to work together. And so over the next few days, working with our city staff, our communications team, to try to get more information out there for the community. This is going to be a team effort from the city, from the district, from all of our different partners, our community members. It's going to be a team effort. It's tough times. It's might get tougher, but we're going to get through this, and we're all in this together. So I just want to encourage everybody to continue staying informed, to please only share information that has been verified. That's super important, especially during these times where we're very nervous. We're very scared. We're anxious. So please make sure that you're sharing verified information with the public and with your neighbors, and look out for one another. Because like I said, this is a team effort, and that's the only way we're going to get through this. So again, thank you all for everything that you all do. I know this is in English, pero muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí. Estamos aquí para trabajar con ustedes. Y tengan por seguro que nuestros policías, bomberos, paramédicos, equipo de la ciudad, nosotros no estamos involucrados, no tenemos ninguna responsabilidad en cualquier control migratorio o leyes federales. Aquí en la ciudad estamos para trabajar con todos ustedes, para asegurar que todos estemos seguros. Así que muchas gracias por estar aquí. Thank you all for your work. And I think my colleague is on as well. So I will turn it over to her. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councilmember Leon. Councilmember Norma Kurtz, I believe I made you a co-host, so if you're on, you can unmute. Okay, maybe she might not be on. Okay. We'll come back to her. I believe Chief Guerrero is on the call now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him. Chief Joe Guerrero from the city of La Palma, are you on?
Yes, ma'am. Can everyone hear me?
There we go.
Yes.
Working out. Yes.
Okay, I was a little lost, but now I'm found, right? There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for inviting me here. I think this is a wonderful opportunity to pass along good information. And I agree with Mr. Carlos Leon. Everything, same sentiment here. We at the police department here, we serve everyone, no matter your nationality or your status. We are not, working hand in hand with ICE. We are a separate entity, obviously, but I'm here to answer any of your questions. I would like to, I know I'm limited on time, but for those who are hearing right now, I know sometimes we look at officers in uniform, but let me give you a little bit about who I am. My name is Jose Guerrero. I was born in Juarez, Mexico, border capital city of the cartel and all the violence that's going on. I came to the United States when I was about 9 years old, and I learned how to speak and write English watching Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and Carrascolendas, which is the first Spanish-speaking educational program there was on PBS back in the days in Phoenix, Arizona. By the time I was 15, I decided I knew what I wanted to do as far as a career, and when I applied for citizenship, I got sent back to Mexico. I was a fish out of water. I had to learn Spanish again because I drifted away from my heritage, but I found myself back in Mexico for some time, and I had to come. And then when I came back, I was able to attain citizenship through Ronald Reagan. It's been a difficult time. It's been a difficult life, but here I am. I did work a little bit in the fields up in Northern California as, trying to struggle and educate myself and get where I'm at. And here I am. Who would have thought? A kid from Juarez, Mexico is chief of police, but it can be done. I do want to let you know too that I also have family members currently who are undocumented, and my phone lit up, and my wife is also from Guadalajara, and we have officers who are in those lines and wearing that uniform who also have families who are undocumented. It affects everyone. We're all in it together. And we just need to make the change, and we have to make it the right way in a nonviolent manner. But with a lot of love and helping each other, we can get all through this. And these are the kind of meetings we need to have. These are the kind of meetings we need some of the leadership to stand up in a nonviolent way, but help each other out through this process, which is scary, right? But nonetheless, I'm the chief of police, and I still have to do a job which I am sworn to protect the community of not only La Palma, but whoever enters our community and asks for help, they will get the help that they need. So I hope that helps.
You're muted, Araceli.
Oh, thank you. Here I was talking away, thanking Chief Guerrero. But thank you so much. Our neighbors in the city of La Palma, we have some schools in the city of La Palma as well. So we appreciate the partnership with our police departments. So thank you for sharing your story. At this point, I'm going to introduce one of our guest speakers, Mr. Julio Perez. Julio Perez is an organizer here in Orange County, and he has some updated information that he would like to share with us so that we're all equipped with the resources to be able to, navigate these challenging times. So Julio, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. So I'm part of the Orange County Immigration Coalition, which is made up of a wide range of individuals that we've been working together for quite some time. As soon as January hit, we spent 3 months informing people about their rights. Since then, we have moved to continue informing people about their constitutional rights, whether folks are documented or not. But now really looking at something came up on the screen. Really looking at family preparedness plans. Okay, so I saw a few of the questions that are already raised, and we'll be going through that. Next slide, please. The 5 basic things that we really need to understand. Very simple, but at the end of the day, we need to repeat them, okay? So part of it, if you have an interaction with an ICE officer, whether they come to your home, whether they stop you in a vehicle, whether you're outside, okay? So you always maintain your silence, okay? They're going to ask you a series of questions. What your name? Where are you from? Are you here legally, etc. The more you speak, the more you give them an opportunity to do what they're going to do, okay? And take you away and deport or arrest you, okay? So piece number 1 is maintain your silence, okay? Now, if they happen to be coming to your home, okay, of course they absolutely need a warrant signed by a judge. The fact of the matter is that ICE is showing up everywhere without a signed paper, right? So we have what it looks like. But the fact is that they're knocking, and we're literally speaking too much about what's going on, okay? Now, if you are an American citizen, right? So for example, I'm an American citizen. I was born here in the US. So do I carry my US passport in terms of a card? Yes, I do. Absolutely. Why? Because I feel like they're profiling me, my family, etc., the youth. So if you happen to be a US citizen and you happen to have a documentation, please carry all that. Now, if you're a Mexican citizen and you're carrying a Mexican ID, right, that may be some room for ICE to misinterpret that and potentially arrest if you don't have US documentation, okay? So again, a lot of the attorneys are suggesting don't carry your Mexican IDs or passports, right? Only carry US provided identification on stuff, okay? Other rights, you always have the right, if arrested, to have an attorney. My suggestion and the suggestion of everybody is please consult with an immigration attorney beforehand. If you haven't already, we have resources available for free legal advice, whether it be from the Public Law Center, for example, here in Orange County. If you happen to be of Mexican descent, you have the Mexican Consulate provides free legal support. Catholic Charities provides free legal support, and several other organizations provide free legal support. Please sign up with an attorney so at least you have a phone number that you can call in case you or a loved one happens to be detained and or arrested or in deportation proceedings. Now, if you do come in front of an ICE officer, they may ask you to sign something. Don't sign anything you do not understand, whether it be in English or in Spanish. Don't sign anything unless you have legal advice next to you. If you have legal counsel, or in other words, an attorney, don't sign anything, because that you might be signing over your own deportation within that. Okay, always have copies of your information at home, right? This leads us into the family preparedness aspect of it. Can I get the next slide? Okay, so I kind of went all of these. Maintain your silence. One of the things, there was a question on here: is there a difference between when ICE comes at you if you're in your vehicle or in your home? Again, they need to have a warrant, a signed warrant by a judge in either your vehicle or in your home. Again, that's your own personal property. So, and also have legal counsel next to you. Next question. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, these are the 4 different things, right? Maintain your silence. Don't open the door. One of the things that you need to train your loved ones, people you lived with, right? Don't open the door, even if somebody comes knocking and says they have a warrant. If they really have a signed warrant, they're going to knock your door down, okay? No need to open it, okay? So again, if you maintain your silence and you agree to open that door, nobody necessarily can protect you past that, okay? So maintain your doors locked. That's my advice. And unless they have a signed warrant, don't open those doors, okay? Don't sign anything, and absolutely don't run, okay? So is there migra running around in Anaheim? Absolutely. They've arrested this weekend in our parks, in Pearson Parks. They've been in different community spaces, right, in the streets, but please don't run, okay? That will give them a green light to go after you across the board. This is what a sample warrant looks like. If you look at it closely, right, if somebody actually presents one to you, it's a United States District Court. This is a court document. It also signed in the red area by an actual judge, okay? That's the actual document that you've been looking for. But the fact of the matter is that over 90% of the time when ICE is interacting with our community, they're not presenting real documentation. They're just coming, asking questions, and we provide them with sufficient evidence that we are here undocumented. Next slide, please. And I'm going really fast on all these pieces, just so it gives opportunity for everybody to talk. So look, individual plans. Well, we, and I say as a coalition, both clergy folks, elected officials, etc., we're going to be having power of attorney letters free of charge for our community. We're going to have a link available to you. And a power of attorney is, in case of your absence as a parent, you give the authority to somebody else to have your kids and or your property in care of those individuals, okay? So again, we're preparing for worst case scenarios, right? This is not saying that everybody, I think everybody needs one, whether you're a US resident or not, or a citizen, etc. Everybody needs a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, right? So again, this is something that we're offering. If you're a parent here in the school district, my advice is you can update as many emergency contacts through your, is it Series? Well, what's the ARIES?
Aries.
Said,
our staff can help with that. We have faces and front office staff that can help if you need to update your contact information so that we have current information.
So please add, if you only have 2, you can add 10. Okay, add as many people as possible, so in case something happens to you, those other individuals can come pick up your kids, and they can also do other things in that area. We're helping with power of attorney letters, so in case something does happen to you, somebody needs to take care of your stuff and your kids, both for healthcare, for rent, etc. So we're going to be offering power of attorney letters that do have to be signed by both parents, and again, other requirements. So we'll share the link for you. We're going to have our next one in a few 2 weeks in Santana. In the middle of July, we're going to have one in Anaheim. So folks know, and again, we're not disclosing where or how, but again, you can get in contact, sign up and get in contact with our folks, and we'll follow up. I saw some other questions about how do we keep our community safe. So for example, if you go to if you have a community meeting, please put signs up that say private area only for staff or only for invitees, right? Where nobody else can actually come. ICE can access public areas. So for example, in a school, can they come to the parking lot? Yes, it's a public area. Can they come into other spaces? No, because all of our schools are completely protected and fenced off. So that's why one of the main differences is that we want to maintain our schools, and you all have done a good job of making those schools private in terms of not allowing people from outside coming in. So again, if you go to a church, make sure to have a room that says private area so folks can walk in there if something comes, or if you're in a workplace, have a room where it says private area that only staff can go. And again, it is an opportunity for us to fight for our rights as we move forward on this. Next slide. Or is that the last one?
We have the resources and then a referral list.
look-
Julio, there's a question in the chat that I wanted to address. It says, if I shows up in schools, homes, churches, stores, and start profiling people, what do we do?
So look, I want to distinguish between, look, your house is your house. Close the doors, close the windows, close everything, okay? Like for example, for me, I used to leave my door always open. I close it now. Why? Because I just don't know, right? So when you're home, close your doors, make sure that you know who's around, talk to your neighbors, you see ICE around, close those doors. If you're in churches, right, depending on what church you're in, I just gave you an example, right? Go to church, right? But make sure, hopefully, your priest or father, your clergy person has a secure area that only invited people can go into, okay? If you go to a store, right? I would say if you are a U.S. citizen, call your neighbors that you may not know their status and say, can I buy something for you, okay? So for example, I could say last week, let's all go to the swap meet. I love to go to Santa Fe swap meet. Guess what? They rated it last weekend. Are they going to be going to areas? Yes, they will. They have already been going. So look, I'm not trying to raise fear. The fact is that they're going to areas where we are now, right? So you can go to the store, but are you going to go with the whole family? I would suggest not, right? Make sure to carry your documentation if you have it, right? But also be safe. Look, for schools, I can attest that your district has been doing a great job about distinguishing between the public areas and the private areas, right? Can the school officials prevent ICE from being outside? No, they can't. But the fact is that I know you all will fight like hell to make sure that they don't come into our schools, right? Now, if ICE is outside and I'm an undocumented parent, am I going to go pick up my kid? No, I'm not, okay? So part of it, make friends with other comadres and compadres, other friends, neighborhood folks, to make plans outside of the community. And that's where community organizing comes in. We need to organize our community to be safe as a whole. And I applaud everybody on this call for sharing with people what you all are doing inside of the schools, right? But then also our community needs to make plans for outside, right? Just like we went through pandemic, okay? We did community, we talked to community, hey, how are you doing? Check in with your people and make sure as many people are as safe as possible. Does that answer your question, Araceli?
Yeah, that's good. There's another question. I think this is a good one for everybody to hear, but it says, do you advise undocumented parents who have kept this information confidential from their children to be ready to share this information with them now? So if their children didn't know that they were undocumented, is this the time to share that?
Look, I'm nobody to tell a parent what to do, okay? But you all know how your kids are, right? What's the appropriate age? I don't know. You all need to figure that out. What I do know is that the school district in Anaheim has resources for mental health. Our communities are going through a lot. Please access our mental health counseling providers that are there in the schools, okay? I say that because it's heavy news. It's a heavy burden, right, to carry. But depending on how old your kids are, you need to prepare them. in things that I need that I know you need to train your kids on is tell them not to open the door. Okay, don't open the door to anybody. Okay, if you're in that predicament, right? Don't open the doors. Number two, don't be disclosing about your family status to everybody. Literally, the only one I advise you to talk to is your attorney. Okay, for example, I saw somebody ask a question about their own legal case. Don't put your own legal case in public forums. Okay, so please, if you have something, ask an attorney directly, right? So again, I'd say anybody younger than 10, it's difficult to have that conversation. Over 15, 14, absolutely have those conversations. And again, be your kids, right?
There's another question. It says, can they force you physically to sign a document?
No, they can't. But I'll tell you what, lately, if you're traveling, for example, even if you're a US citizen, can they forcibly use your thumb to open your phone, in which then they have access to your phone? The answer is yes. TSA, ICE, and others can absolutely do that through the Supreme Court, that they said just like they take your fingerprint, they can force you to use your thumb to open your phone. Now, in your phone, might you have information that could lead to an arrest? Maybe.
And then how do we use these red cards that you see on the screen?
So look, if you have access to these red cards are, know your rights usually. If you have one, just, hold one up to an ICE official and don't say anything. Whether they arrest you or not, that's up to their discretion. But again, these are the rights that we should be having. Are they violating our rights? Absolutely. But again, that's one tool that we have available, that are available out there, that you should just be silent and show the official these cards. And hopefully this might sway them not to detain you and to let you go.
Carlos, do you see any questions that maybe I missed that are general enough to respond to?
So other than we're going to be sharing all of these resources, what's on the slides and the video, or the video of the presentation on our website. And that is part of one of the slides in the next couple slides. So you'll pull that slide, you'll get a QR code, and you'll see the resources. It's on our website as well, and it will be there. This video will be there very, very soon.
Gotcha. Thank you. Maggie, if you're here from U.S. Immigration Law Group, I don't see your name on the call, but if you're here, you can actually raise your hand, and then I'll make you co-host so that you can share some information with us, as well as Jimmy Pham. Jimmy Pham, I know you had told me you'd be here, so I don't recognize the names on the call. So if either of you are here, you could raise your hand, and I'll make you co-host so that you can share information. In the meantime, while we're waiting for them to show up, I am going to invite, we have a couple other guests. We have a representative from Lou Correa's office. So Cynthia, I believe you're on the call, and I should have made you a co-host. So you have the opportunity to unmute at this time and share some resources from Lou Correa's office.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for inviting our office to be here today. We just want to make sure that people are aware of the casework services that the congressman does provide. In our Santa Ana office, that's just at the Rancho Santiago Community College District. Our phone number is right there as well. We do have a casework team here in our office that's dedicated to inquire on all federal cases. So that includes all the immigration ones. So if you currently have an active case with USCIS, somewhere in the Department of State, or with a U.S. embassy abroad, our office can directly inquire with the agency on these cases to make sure that they're on track, get confirmation if notices were sent out. Also, if you're experiencing some kind of emergency and you're trying to get your case expedited, we can also submit those to the agency directly to be considered. I use considered strongly, as we can't make or force the agencies to do anything, but we can bring your situation that you're experiencing to light to the agency so that they're aware that we're advocating on your behalf. Based on the emergency that you're experiencing. So I do just encourage you guys to reach out to us if you have any active immigration cases, because we can definitely reach out to the agency to make sure everything's on track or confirm that the case actually exists, things like that, or if you've missed a notice by any means. So please feel free to reach out to our office in Santa Ana. We are not attorneys, so I do want to disclose that. We cannot offer you any legal advice on what to do, and we cannot actively fill out the applications for you, but we can definitely work on an active immigration case. So feel free to call our Santa Ana office. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. And I do see that somebody from Lisa Ramirez's office is here with us, so I'm going to go ahead and turn over the screen and the mic to her. So is it Lisa or Maggie? Not sure who's here with us today, but you should have access to unmute.
Hi, it's Maggie. Hi.
Hi,
It's
Maggie.
just hello. Good afternoon. Let's see. Okay. I'll briefly go over just general information that it's important to know. What's really shocking now is that the general government priorities that we've, all discussed prior seems that they're kind of out the window. At this point, they're just detaining whoever. It appears that they're detaining whoever they can, wherever they see anyone, right? Because generally, there are government priorities, and we've gone through them. I don't know if the slide is working, or I can't. Do you know if?
Oh, I don't have your slides.
I sent it.
Oh,
so I don't know
okay.
if- yeah,
Let me.
I sent it to you
Okay.
specifically.
Let me pull that up. Let me stop sharing for a minute so that I can pull those
Okay.
up.
Thank you, Maggie. And thank you, everyone, for your grace. It's a lot of people sharing resources, so we thank you. Dr. Freed, there's a couple questions just back to Anaheim
Sure.
Union and what we're doing while Araceli pulls up your slides, Maggie. One of the questions is really after school programs, and what are we doing to maintain safe environment for our students that are participating in after school sports? Dr. Freed?
Yeah, that's a great question. During the school year, obviously, when it's at its peak, we met with the athletic directors and the coaches to put parameters in place along with our sites. Where yes, gates don't close because our campus has to remain open, but they were made aware of the protocols and what to do in the event some there. We also have campus safety aides and admin on campuses as well. So typically they don't walk on campus; they have to come through the front office to check in and be clear to come in. But again, as I shared earlier, we don't allow them to come onto our campuses. Now during the summer, as folks know, we still do have some of our sports programs and our VAPA programs still coming during the summer to participate, but it's much scaled down compared to what you would see during the regular school year. The same protocols and expectations are in place, but now instead of having a full admin team, you have the summer school principal, you have the front office staff. Usually the schools have, I think, a campus safety aide, but the idea is the same protocols are still expected to happen. The one thing I will tell you, and I think I shared earlier, when we hear of something taking place in the community and it's brought to our attention, the summer school principals, whether a student shares that with them or they observe something themselves, they are to notify myself, Robert Saldivar, our executive director, they notify our superintendent, and we immediately notify our local law enforcement. So when we met with the chief, and I know Chief Guerrero was on the call, we've notified them right away because as Chief Guerrero mentioned as well, they are not communicating with our local law enforcement either. So they are in the dark just like we are in terms of where they might be or where they're headed. So we're trying to let them know so they can make themselves available. So again, their job is to protect and serve. Our local law enforcement wants to do that. They want to make sure they're in their position. So if we hear of something, we notify local law enforcement right away so they can be a support. Because again, if they don't have proper documentation, they're not allowed to be onto the campuses or interact with our students. So we're handling it very similar to what we did during the school year as we are during the summer.
And that also, there's another question related to school buses. So can ICE go in and pull students from the school buses?
No, we are treating our school buses much like we are our facilities. So you are not we're not allowing people to enter the buses. Scott Sangren, our director of transportation, is very much aware. I know that he's communicated with all of our bus drivers with that protocol as well. So our buses are very much like our facilities. They are not allowed to just come onto our buses.
And let me jump in that is different than the policy of the Orange County Transportation Authority, where they already issued that ICE can come on OCTA buses. So thank you for adhering to your policy and making our buses safe. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So Maggie, I have the slides up. I want to make a quick announcement about the interpretation in case anybody jumped in, a little later. Si quieren escuchar la presentación en español, por favor vayan al icono que está abajo de su pantalla, que es el icono del mundito, un globo, y haga clic donde dice interpretación, elija el idioma español, Spanish, y también apague el audio original para que pueda escucharlo solamente en español. ¿Ok? Gracias. Ok, Maggie.
Yes, I'm trying to get the clicker to move. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's working now.
Right there.
Excellent. Okay, let me. No.
I'm clicking for you, Maggie.
Oh, you are? Okay. Could we go back one up, please? One before? Yes. Like I indicated, these are generally the government priorities that we've all discussed before, which is one, being accused of a crime before you needed to be charged or convicted of an act, criminal act. Now, being accused is enough. A police report is enough to be a government priority, meaning that the government will and the immigration court will not release you on bond if you've been accused of a crime. You haven't even been convicted, it is enough to be accused. So it is very important that people be very careful with any criminal issue. Be very careful because at this point, they've expanded the crimes that subject you to mandatory detention. Even theft is enough to subject you to detention without bond. So again, be very careful with criminal issues. Those who have final orders of removal or prior deportations, they are subject to government priority. And those who the government believe pose a risk to public safety or the national security. And I know we've been hearing of the different students that have been, detained because of what the government believes that they pose a threat to national security. So that is also still a government priority. We've also been hearing of individuals who are being detained in immigration court. When they go to court, they're being arrested and detained after the court. What the government is doing is they are asking the immigration judge to dismiss the actual case against the immigrant, dismiss the charges, the immigration charges against them. Once the charges are dismissed, the judge no longer has jurisdiction over the case, meaning the judge cannot decide the case. Once that happens, then ICE can immediately detain the individual if they've lived here in the United States less than 2 years. ICE will detain the individual and process them for what is called expedited removal, which means that the individual will be removed. They will be deported to their home country. Why? Because they've been living in the United States less than 2 years, and that is now permitted. Trump did that Trump first time he was president, he allowed that to happen, and now as president, he's allowing that to happen again. So those individuals who have been living in the United States less than 2 years can be subject to being detained and can be subject to being deported without due process. So that is what the government is doing. And unfortunately, under the law, of course, they believe that it's permitted. So it's important that individuals hire attorneys or prepare themselves before they go to court. There are sample arguments that the individuals can make, and I know that there are immigration attorneys going to court, and serving as friends of the court and helping individuals in court object to the dismissal of the case. So it is important that individuals who have court cases that they need to speak to an immigration lawyer in order to help them prepare or hire the attorney to go with the immigrant to court to ensure that the rights are heard by the judge and that the government doesn't dismiss the case against them, and thus they aren't detained right after their court in immigration court. As we know, there's still the executive orders. There's new ones now with travel bans, right? Those are new executive orders. We still have the school and the churches are off limits. As we see, no asylum seekers can enter the U.S. And as we've seen, armed forces are being used against individuals now. Of course, it is harder to get visas and benefits, and now they're going through more strict scrutiny on visas. They're asking more questions, they're asking for more documentation. So it is getting much more difficult for individuals both in the United States who are going to interviews and individuals seeking visas in the embassies or consulate outside the United States. And of course, now we have the registration and that registration requirement, as you know, was unveiled in April. And I believe that people are still registering themselves under that program. And that's part of an executive order that President Trump, under this present time, has made a requirement. Can we go to the next one? Next, please. Okay. As was discussed before, you have the right to remain silent. That is very important. Do not answer any questions. Do not give a fake name or a false name. Do not carry any false documents or evidence with you, either that doesn't belong to you or that even belongs to you, because that information immigration will use to be able to find your record. So do not carry any of that documentation with you. And more importantly, do not sign any document, period. Unless you understand it, and immigration documents can be complicated. So I would say generally it's not something that's easy to understand. So just do not sign anything. And yes, if they'll try to force your hand to sign, don't, that would definitely be something you need to tell your lawyer, because then we would be looking at other civil rights violation if ICE is making you pushing your hand to sign. That would be additional violation of your rights. So make sure you tell your lawyer if that is something that happened. But do not sign anything. And more importantly, carry your lawyer's information with you, and make sure you or a family member can call your lawyer if something should happen. If you are detained, immediately call your lawyer. That is very important. Next slide.
Maggie, since you brought up a
Oh.
civil
Yes, we have
liberties-
questions?
Yeah, just a quick
Yes.
question that has come
Yes.
up during the past few days. So we are seeing cases where, ICE, they are breaking windows, they're pulling people out of their cars, they're forcing people to sign. So if that's the case, are our communities still encouraged to go to an immigration attorney, or should they go to a civil liberties attorney or civil rights?
I would say they need both. They need two, because the civil attorney will protect their absolute violation of their rights, and also the immigration attorney will protect their immigration rights. And we can work in tandem. The arguments made by the civil rights attorney, we can use that in immigration court to indicate to the judge that there's been a complete violation of the client's civil rights, and therefore any information that the government has found that that needs to be stricken, and thus the government cannot prove the alienage of the individual. And there is case law that does exemplify what kind of civil violations would cause immigration judge to find that based on those violations, they cannot go forward with the case. So, but it is important that the individual remember, as soon as they can, document what happened, because that will be very helpful for the civil rights attorney and also for the immigration attorney once their case continues with the immigration court, and also with the civil rights violation case.
Thank you for answering that. Okay, we're back.
There's no other questions? Okay, great. Be prepared. I know Julio discussed this. It is important that people, as we are seeing, and of course it breaks my heart. My heart breaks pretty much every day as they are detaining individuals outside at Home Depot, at the bus stops, everywhere. So it is important that parents and individuals be prepared. Have a family ready plan of who's going to pick up your children should you be detained, who is going to manage your affairs should you be detained, and that documentation needs to be placed somewhere where it's accessible, and that your family members know where those documents are, and also that the individual who is going to be handling your affairs and or picking up your children, they know that they're responsible for that, and to where the documentation is that will help them help you in that role. it is important that you obtain a power of attorney. And I know there are workshops, if not, I'm sure there will be workshops that will focus on that. So it is important that people attend these workshops and get those documents ready. Also important that the family, they register their children at their consul or embassy where they're from. It is important because sometimes the embassy or the consulate will have important information that they need to get out to their citizens, and they will do that if you have registered your children and yourself in your embassy or consulate. So it is important that people do that. Also, make sure that if you have children and you want someone else to pick up your children and temporarily be able to assist your children, they need to sign the caregiver's authorization affidavit. And that's also a document that's part of the power of attorney. When there are presentations and assistance for the power of attorney, they also have the caregiver's authorization affidavit, and that can be filled out at the same time. It is important that individuals carry their identification, the phone number of their attorney, the red card. And the red card is important because it does list your rights. And if you can't remember them, or because, you know, everybody gets nervous when this happens, it's completely understandable that you may not be able to remember what to say. The red card is there so you can just read what the red card says, and that you are exercising your constitutional rights by reading what the red card says. Do not, like I indicated before, do not carry any false information, and do not carry any information that will give immigration information about you specifically. It is important that you hire an attorney who has experience in immigration, especially in deportation cases. Not all immigration attorneys represent individuals in immigration court. So please be very careful when hiring an attorney. You have a right to ask the attorney what kind of cases he or she has represented. And that way you'll know that the attorney has experience in the type of case that you have. And you have every right to ask the attorney for their experience, the cases, and also for their license. Don't be afraid. All of us carry our license with us, and we're more than happy to show it to our prospective clients so they can be assured that we are licensed attorneys. That's very important that you can check for yourself. Next slide. I don't know if there's any questions. If you are a DACA recipient, continue to renew your DACAs. That is very important. And I know attorneys are still filing what is called advanced parole, which gives permission to those who hold DACA work permits to travel outside the country. I wouldn't say everyone should travel because we would have to analyze each case individually. But if you have DACA and you're interested in traveling, seeking advanced parole, which is permission to leave the United States, speak to your immigration attorney to assess your case and to see whether in your particular case, that would be something that would be very helpful. So DACA, continue to renew because DACA continues to be, to be available for those who have DACA and maintained it every 2 years. Next. Yes, be very careful with immigration fraud. Please do not sign blank documents. Always ask for a written contract from your attorney. Do not sign a contract if you do not understand it. Make sure your lawyer gives you receipts of the payments you make, and always ask for copies of the documents that your attorney has submitted to immigration on your behalf. And your original documents, do not leave them with the attorney, because sometimes, not that the attorney may lose them, but sometimes things can be easily misplaced, and therefore it's best that you keep your original documents. The attorney will make copies. There are instances where we have to submit originals to the court, but those are very few in between. In general, copies are suffice in court. Also, be very careful. Do not hire notaries to help you with the immigration cases, specifically and especially those in deportation, because notaries cannot represent you in immigration court as they are not attorneys. And given what is happening, it is very important that you please hire an immigration attorney who has experience and will be able to help you in your case. Things are getting very complicated in immigration law, as normally what is changes on a daily basis for us. So it is important that you hire an attorney who is keeping up with all the changes that are happening in both immigration court and with the visas in the United States and outside the United States. Next one, please. Remember, there is no legalization program now. There's no amnesty. There's no way to obtain a green card or residency based on the length of time you've been in the United States. There is what people call el caso del tiempo, por el tiempo. Yes, if you are in deportation proceedings, you may seek what's called cancellation of removal, cancelación de remoción. If you've lived in the United States for 10 years and you can prove you're a person of good moral character and you have children or spouses or parents who will suffer extreme and unusual hardship should they be sent back to your home country. It's called cancellation of removal, but it is a very difficult case to win because the hardship is extreme hardship, and that is very difficult to prove in immigration court. So yes, if you are in removal proceedings, speak to your attorney and see if that is an option for you. But just to fight a case because you lived here for 10 years, that in and of itself is not enough. It has many other requirements, and it is not as easy as people or notarios claim it to be. So be very careful when somebody tells you la ley de los 10 años. Be very careful about that kind of statement. Next. If you've been a victim of a fraud, please contact these 4 government agencies who will be able to help you free of charge to investigate the attorney. And if possible, you will be able to get your refund back if it can be shown that the attorney did not do the work or you were defrauded by the attorney. So please, if you want to jot down this information and keep it handy, because you can file a claim against the attorney if you can show that there's been fraud committed or the attorney failed to do the work that was contracted. Okay. General, the laws have not changed so much that the law does not allow for a residency. Yes, you are still eligible for parole in place. You can still seek family-based petitions or Violence Against Women Act, the U visa. All of those applications are still possible within immigration office. But of course, it is important that you speak to an immigration attorney to review and make sure that you qualify for these applications. Next. It is important that, like I mentioned, if you have a son or a daughter who's over 21, that in and of itself does not give you an automatic benefit in the United States, but it is important that you speak to an attorney to see if your child may be able to file a petition on your behalf. Again, having a child in and of itself is not enough to gain an immigration benefit. If you have protection under 245I, which means that you have applications that were filed for you before April 30th of 2001, you may be able to obtain your legal status in the United States. If you have an application that was filed for you before April 30th of 2001, please speak to an attorney to see if you may qualify to get your legal status within the United States. It is important, if you've been deported, make sure you speak to an attorney. Why? Because deportation does seriously affect an immigration case, so it is important that that be analyzed. Next. Remember, if you, like we mentioned before, if you hear a knock, do not open the door. Do not let them in. Do not speak to them. Do not present any false documents. And what you're going to do is remain silent, and you're going to have someone call your attorney. And only when you speak to your attorney will you be able to answer any questions to the immigration authorities. We have listed here the different resources that are available, organizations that may be able to help you. If you do not have the funds to hire an immigration attorney, these organizations may be able to help you in your case. So if you would like to take a picture or jot down this information, that will be very helpful.
Maggie, as our audience is taking a picture of the resources page, here's
Yes.
a question. If you are a resident or a U.S. citizen, is carrying a driver's license enough for identification, or do you recommend that we have a second form of ID like a passport?
I would say generally yes, but I had this issue come up with a client of mine who I represented this person in citizenship, so I know this person is a U.S. citizen because I did the work and I was there when the client became a citizen. My client was asked to present something other than the California ID. He had the real ID. They said the ICE officer said that was a fraudulent document and that was not enough. Luckily, my client had the voter, had his, that naturalization card, the card itself, not the passport, just the card. My client presented the card and the ICE officer let him go. But he had the driver's license and that was not enough. Of course, my client is Latino. And of course, they prejudiced completely by the way he appears, and therefore what he presented was not enough. Luckily, he had his card. So I would say, if you can, I would say get the card. And in fact, I'm getting the card for my dad, my father, because I'm afraid that, they would arrest him, because of the way he looks, even if he is a citizen, but him claiming it, unfortunately, it is quite apparent that that seems to be not enough if you're Latino. We can't make enough claims. They just don't believe us. So it is important to have that card. And it's frustrating that we have to carry more documentation than other people, right? That is the unfairness of this. That is where it is, due process is not being applied to us. It's a violation of our rights. We have every right, like everybody else who's a citizen, not to carry documentation. But unfortunately, the way things are, of course, we are more afraid of protecting our parents to make sure they don't get arrested. So I would say get a card or, carry something other than just your driver's license.
And here's another page with resources. Yes, Maggie?
Yes, absolutely. And it's important to point out ocjusticefund.org. That organization will help individuals who need bond money to post money. Sometimes the family cannot afford to pay all of the bond money. Sometimes it could be $3,000 to $5,000. So OC Justice Fund does have funding to assist families to help them post the bond. Of course, the money is returned to OC Justice Fund, but they are able to help families who can't come up with all the money for the to release their family member on bond. So that would be an important organization that you may want to jot down.
For an emergency case, right?
Yes, emergency case, yes.
Okay.
If there are any other questions, our office is located on 7th Street in Santa Ana. We'll be more than happy to have a consultation. We do charge for a consultation. Our consultation fee is $200. So of course, if you'd like a consultation, please reach out to our office. We'll be more than happy to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I know that we've been jotting down questions, so as questions come up throughout the presentation,
Yes.
we'll pose the questions to the audience while we have other folks helping us present. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Maggie, for being here with us tonight, and thank you, to U.S. Immigration Law Group for providing this information. If you can stick around for a couple, more
Yes.
minutes while we have our other presenters come up, then maybe some of those questions could be answered. So I'm going to go back to our slides. I know that we have somebody here from World Relief. So Stephanie Gomez, I have made you a co-host. So if you want to speak to the services and resources that your organization offers, the mic is yours at this moment.
Sure. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Stephanie Gomez. I'm the Immigration Legal Services Director for World Relief Southern California. We're a nonprofit organization that provides free immigration legal services to the community. We're based in Garden Grove, and we also have an office in San Diego. Some of our services are listed here on the screen. We provide general consultations. We assist with DACA renewals, green card renewal or replacement. We provide assistance with family reunification applications, adjustment of status, consular processing. For individuals who would like assistance in applying for citizenship, we can provide that application assistance. We also screen for VAWA and U visa eligibility, including the T visa, which is for human trafficking. We also assist those that have refugee status or asylum status apply for their green cards. We also provide assistance with FOIA requests, and we do presentations similar to the one that you've been listening in on today regarding information that would be useful to the community. So we focus on Know Your Rights. We focus on Immigration Relief 101, providing information on asylum, on temporary protected status, on family petitions, on U visas, etc. We operate Monday through Thursday between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. We have a team of immigration attorneys and Department of Justice accredited representatives. Those of us that are accredited, like myself, are not attorneys, but we do go through extensive certification and training. And under the supervision of experienced immigration attorneys, we're able to provide crucial information to the community. Please give us a call. Our phone number is on the screen. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook to be in the know about latest immigration changes, upcoming events, and how you can reach out to seek our services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for providing this information. Again, if you want to take a screenshot of that slide that has the information for World Relief, you see the address there. They're in Garden Grove, and their phone number is also there. So, you know, just a lot of resources out in our community that are out there willing to support right now. So make sure that, you know, you're all taking advantage of this. Next, I'm going to invite Armando. Armando, I believe I also made you a co-host. I know you are with the Community Health Initiative of Orange County, also known as CHEOC. So if you're on the call, Armando, and you would like to speak to some of the resources that are available in Orange County, the mic is yours.
Hello, Araceli. Hello, everybody. My name is Armando. I'm the program manager for CHEOC, Community Health Initiative of Orange County. And what we do is we provide free enrollment assistance. And we help people that want to apply for Medi-Cal, Cover California, General Relief, CalFresh, also known as food stamps, CalWorks, which is cash aid. And one of the things that we're doing, you know, based on what's happening out there is that enrollments can also be done over the phone. So that way people don't have to come out of their house. So we're being very sensitive about it. And on the screen, you can see our phone number. So if you need more information about where you can get the assistance, where in the city, or where in the county of Orange, you can obtain services. So we are co-located in 32 different facilities throughout Orange County. So if you call that number, we will connect, you know, the community to the closest location.
Armando, since we have you on and we still have Maggie with us, as well as Julio and others that can respond to this, how safe is it right now to apply for these services if you're undocumented?
At the moment, you know, undocumented folks, if they apply for Medi-Cal, they qualify for Medi-Cal full scope as a permanent legal resident or as a U.S. citizen, so they get full benefits.
Okay. And CHEOC is also at some of our campuses. So, you know, we do send out that information via Parent Square. So we have CHEOC enrollment dates at several of our campuses. So they're there to help you all enroll in some of these services. And as you heard Armando say, right now, you can continue to enroll in these services regardless of your legal status.
Absolutely. And also keep in mind that our staff is bilingual. They do speak English and Spanish.
Thank you so much, Armando.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
All right. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Hernandez so that you can share what additional services and resources we are offering.
Yeah, if you go back to the slides, right? I think there's the other one right up above.
I have to refresh.
Okay, just refresh. Yeah. So the slide that you will see in just a few seconds, if you scan that QR code, you will find all of the resources that were shared today, including the main slide deck, which was our slides. It also will take you to the different resources that were shared during the presentation. I know we answered a lot of questions. So again, the recording will be on our district immigration website. Our district main page and under our district main page, you have an immigration resources. It will be there. We're going to send it out because I know we had over 300 attend, but there were some that were not able to attend. So we will have the recording available on our district website. I also
I'm sorry, Carlos. What slide did you add it to?
It is slide 21.
21, let me get there.
Yeah. So if you, once Araceli presents, that one right there has all of the resources that we shared today. You'll also find these resources, and again, we'll put those on our website. But right now, we don't have some of these on our website, so you're the first to see them. And again, based on today's discussion, we also have a few more questions that we'll get to in just a few
I
seconds
know
here.
there was one pending regarding our cell phone policy. So there was
Right.
families that were saying, we understand right now there's a cell phone policy that, you know, students aren't supposed to have cell phones on campus, but, you know, with the current situation, is there an exception to that? So Dr. Freed, I'm going to have you respond to that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, please know again that we deeply understand the stress the situation places on our students and our families. And I know all the way up from our board to all of our colleagues at our schools and our district office, the safety and well-being of our students remain, of course, our top priority. And just so you know, as background, our board approved the cell phone policy. It was created really to support a focused learning environment. But we also recognize that in extraordinary circumstances, much like this, that communication with family becomes critically important. So to that end, a few things that I know that we'll have in place, especially now in the summer and into the school year. Yeah, students, of course, always have access to their school office phones if they need to contact you during the day. And yes, of course, parents, and part of what we did when we built the policy is that parents may call the school office at any time to deliver urgent messages to their student. And of course, that was one of our commitments, that staff will ensure that message is delivered to their student promptly. But I also want to say that in situations like this, where we have heightened fear or that need for reinsurance, of course, we're going to work with our site administrators and our staff to be flexible and supportive. So I'll give an example. So if a student expresses a genuine concern with a need to check in with their family during the day, we're going to have our staff work with their student to accommodate that in a safe and appropriate way without compromising that learning environment that the board created when that policy was created. So yes, we're going to try to be as flexible and nimble as we can while still protecting the essence of that policy. So again, safety and the well-being of our students is our top priority. So we will work with our staff to be flexible in that way. That again doesn't compromise the learning environment, but that allows a student to feel safe and connected to their family, especially in moments of what we're experiencing like this. So I hope that makes sense. That our priority is to balance both the student learning with, of course, that heightened sense of security. That's important to all of us.
There's a question here, probably for Maggie. Maggie, if there's a person that is undocumented and has no identification with them when they're detained, is there a possibility that they can be sent to a different detention center just because they don't have an ID on them? Oh, not sure if Maggie's still with us. Well, we're going to try to get responses to some of these questions. And as Mr. Hernandez stated earlier, we're going to try to pose as many of these as we can on our document, and it will be included in that resource page. So again, please make sure that you scan that QR code. That'll take you to our immigration resources webpage, where you can find all the resources from today's forum. Today's forum will it also is being recorded, and so you'll be able to see a recording of this on that page as well as a document with all the resource links that we have shared today. Dr. Freed, Mr. Hernandez, anything else before we close today?
Just multiple questions about the red card. So can you remind everyone where to get these really important red cards?
Yes, so we have these red cards at our school sites. So please, if you have a school that is nearby your home, feel free to stop by the Family and Resource Center or the Community Resource Center. And most of our schools should have these readily available. We also have them here at the district office at 501 North Crescent Way. So if this is closer to your home, please stop by. We'll make sure that we have these readily available for you in our front reception area. In multiple languages as well. Sophia, I'm not sure that I can unmute you, but is there a question that you can type in the Q&A? Maybe, perhaps. Okay. We will also be sharing the dates for the clinics. I know that Julio mentioned the power of attorney clinics that we will be offering for you all to come in and get a power of attorney letter completed. So on that document, we're going to be adding the link that'll take you to the registration form where you can go and get those power of attorney letters completed for you free of charge. Okay. All right.
All right. Well, let's close with Dr. Freed and to close us out here, knowing that there are probably still some more questions, and we thank you for your patience as we try to get to as many questions as possible. But we know we have resources available for you and lots of community willing to help each other out through these very difficult times. Dr. Freed.
Yeah, so first of all, again, I just want to thank all of our families and communities for being on this call. You are our priority, and this is incredibly important to us that we, again, through our community school approach, right, are providing all the supports and resources available to you and your family so you are equipped to keep yourself safe during these times. And I know I said it earlier, but I have to echo it again, and it's somewhat selfish on my end, but I can't thank Carlos, Araceli, Kenny, and our team enough for their leadership. As you all know, school ended a couple weeks ago, and even though we have summer school, a number of us are in the midst of our vacations, yet you all remain our priority. So thank you all for your leadership and working with, of course, our amazing community partners, some of whom were on this call to provide the support specifically to all of you. And then again, as things come up, as things are adjusting or transitioning or adapting based on what's happening at the federal and even the local level, we will continue to stay up to date on those happenings, and then we'll continue to provide whatever supports and resources we need to. And of course, I know they're still on the call. I want to thank our board who's on the call. I saw our board president on the call, Trustee Guerrero, and Miranda Trejo. I can't remember if I saw Ron, but just thank them for their incredible support of this work and of our community during these difficult times. It really speaks volume to what leadership really is about. Thank you all again for being here. And again, we will circle back as we learn more. And again, we hope we'll keep in our thoughts, prayers, and hope that we remain safe during these times. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening.